Hello, and welcome to Rocket Fuel, your daily update of everything that's happening in the Rocket Pool community. My name is Wack. Today is November 6th, and today's episode is going to cover some news about the tree generation for version 10 that's going to impact Saturn Zero users. We're going to have a summary of the bi-weekly update, and we're going to talk about the election results and its impact on crypto. So let's get started.
10, 9, ignition sequence start, 6.
So we're going to start here with this update from Langers, and Langers gets straight into it. It says, hey everyone, just a quick update on the RPIP62 tokenomics rework prelude Saturn Zero. So this is as of October 28th, we launched the ETH-only minipool protocol settings. Since then, our team has been working on implementing the version 10 rewards tree, which will enable dynamic commission, 10 to 14% for those minipools. It'll actually also set the 5 to 10% part of it as well. So it says the development of the reward stream implementation has gone smoothly, but we've encountered some unforeseen performance issues that required additional development and testing. So Langers goes on to say, as I highlighted in previous announcement, this delivery risk was always a possibility, but we had hoped to avoid it. As a result, we're pushing back the release of the version 10 rewards tree to interval 30, which is due on December 16th. It says to ensure that we have enough time to test out these performance implications. And it says, as you can imagine, our priority is to make sure the rewards tree gets generated correctly. So it says, consequently, new mini pools created since October 28th will receive 5% commission for this first rewards period. The subsequent rewards period will be the first dynamic commission period. So this was news that was always likely possible. We were hoping that we would be able to avoid it, and people who, staked with Rocket Pool, with Saturn Zero validators, with the ETH-only validators, would start getting, that 10 to 14% right away. However, sadly, it looks like that won't be happening, and the team the team is pushing for it to be in the December 16th update. So Patches here was in trading last night and giving some updates this morning, talking about what's happening. So here, Madma said, could you explain what the difficulties are with version 10? And Patches said that querying beacon balances takes 16 seconds per slot, and if you query them in series, it stops your node from syncing, at least with Nimbus, which has a single-threaded architecture. So he says this means rolling records is probably the only viable implementation without a heavy persistent balance cache, but rolling records is held together with spit and balling wire, so updating it to support bonus commission is fraught. He says we didn't discover the performance issue until the stateless implementation was completed, so we more or less don't have enough of window to sufficiently test version 10 before interval 29 ends. He says on the plus side, I've come around to the idea that having an extra interval to develop and to test at a sane pace is worth the cost of the protocol. Well, actually, it's net neutral to the protocol, but worth the cost of the impacted node operators. So what he's trying to say is that we need to make sure that it's done right and not rushed, and would rather have it be a bit of an issue than coming out and it being wrong. So this is where we stand at the moment, and then Patches basically kind of goes on a little bit more and talks about tree gen implementation and how it all works. And here non-fungible Yoakum asks, why do you have to query for every slot? He said, if I remember correctly, I thought it was sufficient to just look at the withdrawals in every block and figure out the operator income that way. So Patches actually explains, he says, not every slot, but any slot that has at least one node operator opted into the smoothing pool, ordered a bond reduction, or opted out, or staked a mini pool, additionally the first and last slot. So he says interval 29 has over 1,000 such events. So if you calculate 1,000 by 16 seconds, that works out to be a whole lot of time, like a few hours, basically. So is that right? Like you could do 4 per minute, 240 per hour. Yeah, about 4 hours basically it would take. And like Patches says, if you're running on Nimbus with this single threaded architecture, it would stop your node from syncing during that time. So it's not a good experience, and it looks like they're going to take a tiny step back. It looks like they've got ways of figuring it out already in place, and they just need to get working on it. And I think the rolling records is going to be the way to do it, but they want to make sure that it's done right because of the way that it's kind of put together. So that was the update from Patches about that. If we go back to the protocol update in yesterday's episode, we talked about how the community, the team got the rocket pool Twitter account back. We also talked about Halula becoming a rocket scientist. However, in my excitement about those things, I missed out a couple of other protocol updates, and that was the community DevCon event is tentatively scheduled for Wednesday the 13th, so it's next week around 7:30 p.m. So the plan is to grab some Thai food and beers nearest to the main venue. The exact location is to be confirmed. While there is no community call this week, we will grab a DevCon meeting room and penciled in a slot for next week, so you can check the details of both events in the Discord event section. Hope to see you in Bangkok. And then there's a bi-weekly update as well. So we're actually going to look through the bi-weekly update now. And this was published by Mav yesterday. So sorry it wasn't in yesterday's episode, but here Mav showed that the RETH supply has declined by 1.9% to 472,515, which is an annualized decline of 50%. That number, in all honesty, is quite surprising to me. Like, I really didn't think Saturn Zero was going to have this kind of impact on Rocket Pool. I really thought that, we were going to be able to get new validators online, have new capacity for RETH being minted, and that being taken up by big mints. That's not quite materialized that way yet. We have a lot of growth ideas in place, and we hired Alpha Growth, and also we have the RETH Growth Incubator that is coming up with some really good ideas that we are soon going to start processing and hopefully acting upon. Of course, for the last year, Rocket Pool has not really been in a situation where we've been able to tell people that we've got space in the deposit pool and to mint our ETH. So there's people in the community who are going out there and doing that, more of that, including tweets that I've been putting out, Jasper has been putting out, Dr. Doofus has been putting out, a whole bunch of other people. But that's what we need right now. We need people to come and mint our ETH, and it's causing I think it's causing some small worries in the community about people wanting to see those. We've got a queue for the mini pools that is 258 validators long right now. The deposit pool has space for around 26,000 ETH, which is a whole lot of ETH. So yeah, that is definitely something that I think the community is spending a lot of time talking about and thinking about, and hopefully we'll start seeing some of those mints happening soon. Okay, next we have the pending active mini pool count, and this grew 7% to 23,552. So this is an annualized growth of 183%. And of course, that is counting the validators that are in the queue. So those, of course, are not adding to the RETH supply, but they are adding to the mini pool count. So that's where that discrepancy lies. And then we have a node operator count has increased 0.5% to 3,784, annualized growth of 12%. So that number, of course, we've talked about how it's misleading. It never goes down number, it always goes up number. The actual number is somewhere around 1,750 to 2,000, somewhere around there. I'm not sure of the exact number. And then we've got some information about the smart node. So we had version 1.14.0 and then updated to 1.14.1. So this was a recommended upgrade with bug fixes, client updates, and minor new features. And then 1.14.1 had fixed the breaking change from prison and updated the load style version as well. And then node operators should note that updating Linux OS versions will clear your Docker and Smart Node version 2 beta repositories and prevent further updates. So there's ways to mitigate that as well. In terms of R&D, we had the Houston hotfix upgrade was successfully deployed along with the first component of the tokenomics rework, and that's aka Saturn Zero. And the team was preparing to attend DevCon. And at DevCon, they're going to be having a lot of meetings with people and protocols, and I think there'll be some really positive things that come out of that. And then in terms of governance, we have the voting live for the GMC membership selection, and that is still ongoing. I still haven't voted yet. Let's actually have a quick look at the vote and see where it stands. So right now we have Scuzzle at number 1 with 1,400 votes, Dr. Doofus with number 2 at 1,300 votes, me at number 3 with 1,200 200 votes. Snow Cones, 1,200 votes. Looking for Owls, 1,200 notes. Then there's Kevster, Lee, Ken, Destroyer, Steely, Ramana, Len of Tower, and Dondo. If you want to vote for that, definitely go and submit your vote. You have 3 days, basically 4 days to do that. And then there was a discussion about ODAO membership change, and that was the Yorick crypto manufacturer key rotation. So Yorick has been kicked out, but there's discussion about bringing someone new in to replace them hasn't started. And I think there's not that much community will to bring in new ODAO members. And then here says the latest PDAO and GMC reports were available as well. With integrations, there was lending protocol Fringe Finance that integrated our ETH as capital and collateral asset. On top of that, the X account was back. A huge amount of Rocket Pool content shared on X following the Saturn Zero upgrade, and far too much to list. So follow the Rocket Pool intern to stay up to date with retweets and likes. Jasper shared a thread about Rocket Pool scaling. The GMC funded alpha growth to expand our ETH adoption. A DeFi protocol announced boosted rewards for our ETH. Community guests were Fluid Key and Relend. And then Saturn Zero call was covered by ETH Staker community call. It was also covered on the Daily Gwei and also on Bankless. And then Bankless published a Rocket Pool guide. So we've talked about most of those things on Rocket Fuel before. So that's pretty cool. Okay, moving on to some other news now. We have news of the US election, which of course took place yesterday, and that has now been decided. And the winner of the election is Donald Trump. So he is the new president of the US. There's still some votes to be counted and still some states to call it, but Donald Trump now has an unassailable lead, and he's going to win he's won the presidency, so he'll be the next president of the US. When we have a look at the Senate and the House, the Senate is going to go to a Republican majority as well, and they are already at 52 seats in the Senate with 5 more to be called, and the Democrats lost three seats in the Senate. In terms of the House, here we have the Democrats at 184, with the Republicans at 201, and there are still 50 more to be called there. So that is a little bit more up in the air about who's going to get a majority there. But at the moment, it looks like it's a strong chance that the Republicans will win that as well. So it looks like a clean sweep for the Republicans. Of course, the Democrats were. For crypto, they had this kind of anti-crypto message. The Republicans were very much the opposite, with Donald Trump, leaning heavily into crypto, leaning into Bitcoin, also starting a project on Ethereum with the World Liberty Finance stuff. So the crypto markets, I think, wanted Donald Trump win, and they responded very strongly to the news of a Donald Trump win. So here we have Bitcoin hitting 75,377. And going up to 7,500 overnight with the news of Donald Trump's victory coming through and becoming more likely. Now, Bitcoin is up on all time frames, basically up on 1 year, up on 30 days, up on 14 days, 7 days, 24 hours, and even the 1 hour chart. So it's looking really strong. Ethereum has also had a very strong 24 hours, so it's up to 2,679. Of course, it's a long ways away from its all-time high, but it's had a good day basically in response to the Donald Trump election. Ethereum is also up on all time frames, but not as strongly as Bitcoin. So on the 1 year, it's up 41%. On 30 days, it's up 8%. On the 14 days, it's up 8%. On 7 days, it's up 0.5%. 24 hours, up 9%. And on 1 hour, it's up 0.3%. The RPL token on the 1 day has performed well as well, and is at $9.78, which is a 10% increase compared to yesterday. However, as you all know, on the longer time frames, the RPL token has not been performing strongly. On the 1 year, it's minus 61%. On the 30 days, it's minus 10%. On the 14 days, it's minus 8%. On the 7 days, it's minus 10%. On the 24 hours, it's up 10%. On the 1 hour, it's up 1.3%. So, I'm hoping that this is a turnaround in the crypto market, and we can from here we can the bottoms hopefully will be in, and we can start to rise. However, of course, there's no guarantee of that. You never know what's going to happen with the crypto markets. The idea is that the next year now should be very strong, with a lot of the blockers for crypto being removed, and potentially there being a big run for crypto as a whole. So the crypto markets as a whole, I think everything was green today. As you look down, the only one that's down on the 24 hours is BNB and Tron, but most tokens are up quite strongly. Oh, sorry, that's on the 1 week. I meant on the 1 day. Everything is up pretty much somewhere between 5 and 15% for most of them. So they've had a very strong showing. Uniswap is up very big because of the Wells notice. It looks like the companies that had Wells notices against them, they have responded very strongly, because it looks like the Republicans, as they come into power, they will be rescinding those and removing them from those companies. Again, another one that has had a big jump today as well is the Coinbase stock Base, that has just run and run. But yeah, like I was saying, there's an RV as well that has had a 27% pump, which is just huge. But none of these in the top 100 are red. I don't think any crypto coin is red today. Lido is also up 27%. Yeah, there's some really strong performers. But the reality is that the crypto market cap as a whole is up 6%, and it's looking very, very strong. So that is hope. Some signs for hope potentially for the crypto market. Here in Moon's thread, this is when the news broke yesterday of Bitcoin hitting all-time highs, and there just being a lot of excitement, but also some causes for further discussion, such as the future equity futures and the bond yields. They're going up a lot, so that means that you're on the risk off environment. You just put your money into bonds and the money markets because those yields are so good. It's maybe only when those yields come down that people might rotate that money into crypto markets. And let's just have a quick look at where we stand with prices. So like I said, Bitcoin hit an all-time high, new all-time high on Binance at 75,407. And ETH so far has peaked at 2,676, and the ETH BTC ratio has bounced a little bit. Since yesterday, it went down to a low of 0.03465, and now it's at 0.03553. So I'm hoping that move in ETH still has some momentum, and it can get up strongly, and hopefully show that the bottom for ETH is in against BTC, and then move up from there. But there's a whole lot to talk about in terms of the political landscape changing, and I'm sure that there'll be some interesting crypto takes about that in the coming days. But I'm going to end today's episode here. So thank you all for watching, listening, and being part of the Rocket Fuel community. I hope you're all doing all right today. I know that sentiment is mixed in some places, but I just hope you're all okay, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.